Hi everyone, Michelle here from the Creative Cove, and thanks for joining me today. I thought today I would do a video on Procreate. I haven't played with this program in a long time. I've been busy with other things and I really miss playing with it. I've had a few people ask me to do some more tutorials, and by no means am I a pro on this program. I just learn something new every time I use it, and then I share it in a video. It's a lot of fun to learn. It's time consuming in the sense that you have to kind of be a little bit more of a techie person, which I am not at all. So that's why I really like this program, because it's simplified for people who are not techie, people like me. So, there's all kinds of fantastic drawing programs out there, like Photoshop is an amazing one, but it's very, very in-depth and it can take years and years to learn, and it's quite expensive. When Procreate, however, is, I believe it's a monthly payment. My husband bought it for me for Christmas. And then the program you just download from an app onto your iPad, and this is an iPad Pro. I'm sorry, I don't know what number it is. I'm not techie. I have no idea what it is or what my phone is. But it was the newest iPad available last year. So I don't even know if there's new iPad anymore. I don't pay attention to those things. But today I thought we could play with some digitals. Lately I've been inspired by some really beautiful antique papers that I've seen for sale, old newspapers, things like that, and I thought it would be kind of fun to create our own antique paper. So right now I'm in this, I'm creating a journal, just a little junk journal, nothing fancy, but I've been really inspired by Ludwig van Beethoven, his life and the love letter that he wrote to somebody, we don't know who, really. And so I designed some digital papers, and I'm in the middle of putting this together. As you can see, it's not fully assembled. But every time I do a paper, I add a new element to it. So I wanted to today go through how to create some antique papers. So this is a paper here, very simple. And then what I do is I add elements to it. So then the next one, let's say I add the writing to it. And then, the idea is to build layers and layers of different papers in a collection that you can use in a theme. That's pretty much what the tutorials I do are about. So today, I got one more here. So this one I drew roses. I drew one rose and then I just reuse it over and over again. So today let's start with creating antique looking paper. So I'm gonna hit the plus sign up here, and I'm gonna take an 11 by 8.5 canvas, AKA paper, and I'm going to start antiquing it. So I go into my color palette and I'll go into the orange circle here, color wheel, and I'll slide over to an orangey brown. And again, this is entirely up to your taste, what you like, what you don't like, what theme you want to go to, and so on and so forth. And I'm just going to find a color that kind of feels like coffee dyed paper. So I've got my base here. So I'm going to now find a darker brown, so maybe drag that color wheel a little lower. And I'm going to go into my brush setting. So here's all your brushes, and I'm not going to go into all of them. I'm just going to show you the ones that I like to use, and the more you use this program, the more you're going to find the brushes that you like and that you don't like. So I go into airbrush and I take the soft brush. It's one of my favorite brushes. Then over here, you'll see a little menu where you can slide the size of the brush up and the opacity here of how dark and light the color saturation will be. So I'm gonna go about there, and I'm gonna just darken my edges. And I'm just gonna play with it. And what's great about this program, of course, is it's forgiving. It's not like paint or ink. It's just, you throw it on, you don't like it, you can hit the undo button or play with it even more. I'm gonna go to a lighter color yet. I'm gonna slide over and maybe up this way a little. And then I'm gonna introduce that to the center a little. I'm just gonna play with my colors. And then I'm gonna hit the smudging tool. I call it a smudging tool. I'm sure it has a proper name. And I'm just gonna softly blend this out just a little bit. And you can see I'm using the pen. I do it doesn't come with the iPad, you have to buy it separately, but I highly recommend it. The details you can get are way more accurate than you can with your finger, but you can use your finger. It's a touch screen, so. One of the things I wanted to point out too is while you're picking your colors, the color saturation on the screen never matches the printing. So I haven't used Procreate for a while, just simply because I don't have a printer. So I find it frustrating because I have to go to a printer's, then I have to print it, and I realize, okay, this is more green, and I wanted it more brown. So when I finally get set up in my new house, I will have a printer, and that way I can show you how it prints and the color variations. I don't find they're too bad, depending on your printer, I guess. But you do want to bear that in mind, that the color saturation that you see on screen is almost never the same as what you might see on a printer. And I think that goes for all programs, like even fancy ones like Photoshop. Okay, so there's a base. We have that kind of roughed up, exposed edge where the color and sunlight has changed the paper on the outside and the inside's been a little protected. So let's go play with some brush effects here. I want to find something that makes it look like it's been crinkled a little. So this is where you can get into all these fun textures. So if I go into, say, industrial, and I just look for something that looks like a crinkle, and I just keep flicking through them until I find something I like. So this water effect kind of has a crinkle look. Let's try it. And again, we don't like it, we undo it. And this is where you get to really play with the papers and really have some fun. So there it is there in the white. See it kind of in the really cool effect there. I'm not sure why it's coming up white when I have my dark. This must be the style of the pen is more like it gives you these white spaces. It doesn't absorb this color. So there you go, didn't know that. So I'm just gonna keep going, see if there's anything else that I like that I might wanna add. And here we can throw something like this in after, like how much fun is that? Organic, did we do organic? What's this one? This looks kind of cool. Oh yeah, and if you touch on the brush, you can play with all kinds of settings and save your own brushes. I haven't got into that yet. It's way out of my league right now. So here we go with a little bit of that one, and it's giving me a little bit of a crinkled effect, which is really nice. And you can go in with a bit of a brown maybe. And you can pick your own colors and have fun with your colors, but now we've got that kind of really, it's been crinkled, beaten up look of paper already. So there you go, that's number one. So what I like to do is I go back to my gallery, I go select, I click on the button down here and I hit duplicate. Don't hit delete, been there, done that. So now I have two of them. So I'm gonna close that off and I'm gonna go to my second one. So now I have one on file that's gonna stay original, and now I can start playing with the second one. So for now, I want to start adding the text, and I forgot to bring the text with me. So you go into this little tool here, a little wrench, and add text. And here comes the text box. I find the text a little bit on the frustrating side. It takes some practice to use the text box. I find it a little bit finicky, but that being said, it is a handy tool. So this is in the original papers, and I did print a couple, I'll show you after. I had written out his love letter, Ludwig van Beethoven's love letter to an anonymous woman. And you know how he says, behold, and that hit the immortal beloved, and that's kind of the name of the letter. I'm not gonna type all that out. It takes too long. So I'm just gonna put some gibberish in so you get the idea. But you can put your favorite poems in. You can put whatever you want in. So I'm going to play down here is the font. So for this one, I wanna go kind of like a really old-fashioned handwritten. So I don't even know how to read that. Zartino, maybe? And I'm gonna leave the size for now that big so you can see what I'm doing. So in these here, this is all these different settings. See that they can spread and condense your text. That's called kerning. Tracking kind of does the same thing. Leading will space the words between each other, and baseline moves it up and down in the box. And of course the opacity makes it more or less transparent. So these are really fun because these really let you play with a lot. So let's just go ahead and put some gibberish in there. So you have to highlight the text, and I'm just gonna do this. And then you're gonna highlight it all, and hopefully we get it all. It's hard to tell. But now I'm gonna play with the size. So I'm gonna go back to up here in this menu. I'm gonna hit the letter, and I'm gonna reduce the size so we didn't get it all. And I'm gonna make it really small because I want this letter to be really, like really old-fashioned and hard to read, obviously, since my writing is so bad and I didn't spell anything. So you can make notes of the sizes and things like that so you can see what you're doing. I'm gonna change the color too. I want this black. Right now this is brown. My color selection is brown. So you wanna highlight everything, and I'm gonna change it to this. So I hit my color watch, and I'm gonna go back into, gonna kind of reselect it every time. So the more you play with this, the better you will get at it. It's a little bit easier to navigate. Let's see here. Oh, what did I do? That's why I find it hard to teach, because I'm still learning myself, but you know, we can learn together. So I want to see the size of this font. I think that's good. Okay, so let's go into here and let's do some more writing. I click the little, oops, I click this button up here and it brings up my, and I'm just literally just gibberish here. It'd be fun to write in different languages. I speak some French, and how fun would it be to let's put some spaces in here. To write in a different language. You can put your favorite poems in here, your favorite sayings. And then, so basically all I do, I'm gonna back this up. I don't know why this space is here. There we go. I'm just gonna give a few spaces in between these letters. There's a bit of, it doesn't look very realistic. And like I said, you're not gonna be able to really see much of it. Okay, that should do. All right, so we can get rid of the the text box here. How do I get rid of that? I'm gonna bring that up and spread it right across my paper. And why is this not going away? There we go. Okay. Come on, there we go. Okay, so there's our text there. I think I'm going to make it all go to the side. So I'm gonna highlight it again, and I'm gonna hit this button so it brings it all over this way. And make sure my box is in there. And then I'm gonna hit copy, and then I'm gonna click on the button here, and then I'm gonna hit paste. And I'm gonna hit paste all the way down my page until I get to the bottom. Sorry, I have to shrink it because my pad's in the way. There we go. So now I filled the whole page with gibberish. Oops. There we go. So you can see, it You can't read it, but I mean, at first glance, it looks almost to me like a foreign language or something like that. So it doesn't have to be legible, but you can take the time. Like I said, I did print out and type his letter, which, because I'm doing that specific journal, I wanted his love letter in there because I find it's a very touching letter. So that's something you can do. You can also go into your layers here. This is the layer box, and now you can play with the writing. So if you hit the little N, you can see here, I'll blow it up for you. You hit the N and you can play with the opacity of the writing. So I can reduce it so it becomes a little bit more transparent or a little bit worn. You can also play with these, and we'll get into this in a second with the roses, because I want to show you how to draw those today. And so let's have a look, see if we like that. So there you go, it's even more worn, which I kind of like. All right, so now what I would do is I would take this and I would go gallery. I would hit select, hit this, and then I hit duplicate again. So now I have two papers ready for printing. Okay, so I'm gonna close this off and I'm gonna take the second one, and now I'm gonna add the next layer to it. So what would we like to add? Let's go into that, I don't know why it keeps shrinking down. So you see, for some reason it's selected, I don't know why. Okay, I'm gonna go into this pencil here and I'm gonna go into, where did we see that really cool kind of vintage looking wallpaper? Thought that was really neat. So bear with me. I know it's in here somewhere. I thought it was a really cool thing to add without having to draw it, but now I can't find it. I told you, there it is. I haven't Victorian, so it's kind of like a Victorian wallpaper, which is pretty neat. Okay, so let's add another layer. Always add layers. That's one thing I have learned. Layers is key, because if you want to make an adjustment, you can go directly to that layer and change it. If you merge it all together, they become one flat sheet, and then you can't really change it after that. You can, but it's much more time consuming. I'm gonna take this brown, because I like this brown. I'm gonna go really big on this just to see what it does, just to see if I like it. Which is kind of fun. So you can do the whole page if you want. That's kind of neat. And then again, you can reduce the saturation on this, the opacity. So I'm going to turn that down a little bit. And then I think what I'll do is use the eraser. So as I'm in the eraser here, I'm going to go into my tool, into my drawing tool, and I'm going to change it to my airbrush. Make sure I'm on that setting. Okay, that's what I want. And then I'm gonna make it big, and I'm gonna reduce the opacity of the eraser. So I'll show you the difference. So here, it's erasing completely. And if I reduce it, it erases gently. So you can see the difference. So I'm gonna hit the undo button. Again, just more tools, having fun. And I'm just gonna soften that because I don't want the paper to be overly busy. But the more layers of texture and interest that you can add, the more fun the paper. So right there, you could save that as another paper. And now you have 3. Let's do it. Gallery, select this one, and duplicate. And then close it, and let's take the next one. So what did I want to introduce? Oh, I wanted to do the music notes because I thought they were kind of fun and they kind of tie in with the theme I'm working on. So I'm going to rotate here. And what's really nice about this is it has this really clever little thing you can use to create a straight line, because drawing on glass is not easy. So I'm going to go to sketching, and I'm going to take this untitled brush. It just came with the set. And I'm going to have a look to see how big my pencil line's going to be. So I'm going to go pretty small, and I'm going to go across like this, and I'm going to hold it, and it will straighten my line. So that's a bit too thick a line for what I want. So I'm going to reduce my pencil a little bit more, and I'm going to go straight across and hold, and it straightens. And then where I start the next line is the most important part. So even if I do this, I wait and it will straighten it. Oh, that one went too curved. So if it registers a curve, it will curve it. So you don't have to be perfectly straight on this, but see how where you start the line, that's the guidance. So that's too far apart for the music note line. So I hit the erase button and I make sure I drop my pencil where I want it, and then I go across. And now I'm gonna create 5 of these. And you could probably just hit copy and paste, but the more you draw on this, the better you get. So I don't like that one. And drawing on glass is difficult because it is slippery. So it's much different than drawing on paper. I already know I'm not gonna like that one. So it takes practice, but the effects you can get are really fun. And this hand-drawn kind of look is really nice as well. Don't like these last two. Okay, I gotta concentrate. All right, so I'm gonna start right here. There we go, that's better. And then right here. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the music notes. And trust me, I am not musically inclined whatsoever, so I have no idea what any of these notes mean. So I'll show you that. I'm gonna blow that up so I can show you. So I do a oval, and then I hold it, and it will straighten up my oval for me. And the same thing with the line. I go straight up, I hold it, and then I can take that color and put it right in. So I think what we're doing is still working on this layer when I should have changed it, but that's okay. And we'll do one down here maybe. So hold it, fill it, and then line. Oops, I hit the erase button with my big hand. And the line. So this one's terrible. So maybe we'll erase this. See, the problem with the layers is I'm going to erase everything. And that's why every time you do something different, you want to add a layer so that it saves you. I'm just going to clean that up. Maybe I can erase it. Let's see. Let's go down here like this. See if I can get rid of this note because it's a bit messy. It's not really going to show up, but you know, you're spending all this time making this nice, and we should make it nice. There. Okay. Let's go back to drawing, and we will put another oval in. That's much better. And maybe one down here. And I wish I could read sheet music, but I tried learning the piano once. My dad tried to teach me, and I suddenly realized that I really can't work 2 hands doing something different at the same time. You know, my one hand can't, that's not filling. My one hand can't register something while my other hand is trying to do something else. So piano and guitar, no chance. Could not do it. Which is unfortunate because I do love, there's just something about the piano. And the more I listen to it now as I'm getting older, the more appreciation I have for it. Because I didn't have an appreciation for piano when I was younger. But I just love listening to piano playing now. And there's just something about the timing of the music that I think intrigues me the most. I love just listening to how they play the piano, and then the keys and the timing in between, like the pause in between, is so dramatic on a piano. I don't know, maybe I'm losing it. But I have a respect for people who can play musical instruments. I don't have a musical bone in my body. I don't even sound good in the shower when I sing. All right, almost done. So today's going to be a little bit of a long video, but I'm hoping that you're learning something along with me, and now you can make your own antique digital papers. So because this is all original, everything we're doing by hand, that you can sell them, but anything that you import off the internet or, you know, out of a magazine or whatever, if you plan on selling your digital papers, please do make sure that you have the rights to those images, because there's nothing worse than someone taking your images. All right, so let's duplicate this. I want to duplicate it on its own layer here. So no, because it's going to duplicate everything. Darn, I wish I had done another layer. All right, don't know if I can see, I'm learning as well, if I can select just the music notes. Whoops, see, I don't even know what this stuff does. Look, what was that? I don't know, it's really cool. I have no idea what I did there. I selected something. I saw it slide by. So, I don't know. I'm gonna hit the undo before it stays that way. See, it selected everything, which I didn't want it to do. All right, well, we'll leave that for now. So I'm going to go back to this because there's a process I wanted to show you and I can't do it with that. So I'm gonna go back to this one. I'm gonna hit select again and I'm gonna duplicate it. Duplicate. And I'm gonna have to draw those music notes again. Sorry. I'll try and draw them quickly. So I'll be quiet for a sec. All right. Am I on a new layer? I'm gonna do the exact same mistake. Haha. All right. Ooh, that's terrible. Okay, fill this in as quick as I can. I'll only do a few of them. I just wanted to show you this process of how you can hit it with 2 fingers too, which will hit the undo button, of how I warp these. It's a new thing I just discovered that I really like. And it really was fun with these music notes, just for something different. So I'm gonna try and do this as fast as I can. So they're not gonna be very nice looking music notes, but you'll get the idea. So see how you can easily forget to add a layer, and it can be a pain in the butt. So like anything, try and remember to do layers. It comes with practice as well. Oops. And so what I've learned to do layers, and I still forget, but sometimes you'll be drawing and you'll do one of these like this and not notice it. And then if you do that on top of the stuff that's not separated by layers, you can't erase it neatly because you're going to erase all the layer. So now I can just hit the erase button and erase it, and it's not going to affect anything else underneath. So that's another reason you want to do layers. So there's my music notes. They're pretty bad, but we get the point. So I'm going to hit the select button, and down here is all these fun little elements that I just discovered. So I'm going to hit warp, and you can really have fun manipulating these. You know, you can make them go over top of each other, spread them right out, like just so much fun. And if you don't like it, you just hit the deselect and hit the undo. There's the distort, where you can kind of shift it around, all kinds of fun stuff. right? So again, just hit undo. So I'm going to warp it a little bit. Not too much, but I like to kind of make the paper a little bit more organic looking. So actually, before I do that, let's copy it. So we're gonna hit, we selected it, and we're gonna hit, I pull my 3 fingers down and hit copy, and then I'm gonna get another layer, and then I'm gonna hit paste. So that's gonna let me manipulate it completely different. So let's manipulate this one with the warp. So I'm gonna warp it, and then I'm gonna hit this layer, go back into the original line, and I'm gonna warp that one. Let's maybe move it first. So select it, oops, freeform. Let's move it over here just so the warp isn't matching. Now go to warp and like change it out a bit. Just something fun to play with. I mean, the possibilities are endless, right? So I'm gonna hit I like to desaturate it a little bit so it's not too strong an element. So I'm gonna hit on my layers, and then I hit that N, and I'm gonna turn down the opacity a bit so it's not too strong. And there's another piece of paper, and you can do, you know, individual music notes. You can keep going, keep going. So one more thing I wanna show you is the rose. So let's go back into the gallery, and let's go back to, say, this plain paper, just so you can see it a little bit better. And I draw the rose freehand. So if you don't want to draw the rose, you can always use one of your own photographs. You can use, as long as you have rights to resell the image, you can import an image. And I've shown how to import photographs in another video, so I'm not going to do that today. But if you want originals and you don't want to look for permission or anything, then, you know, make your own. So it takes practice, of course, because drawing on glass is tricky. But what's nice is you can erase it. So I'm going to go a little bit thinner here. I want that kind of sketchy look. I'm going to try and blow it up so you can see it a bit better. And I'm just going to draw my own rose. And I have done a video on how to draw a rose, and I will try and remember to link that. So I'm just going to do a quick one here, just so we can see what we're going to do for drawing. And then I want to show you how to, just need an image of my rose. Where did I put it? Just so I have a reference. Can't remember what they look like without a reference. Here it is here. It's hard to see, but it'll give me something. All right, maybe not. Let's just draw it. So I'm just going to give myself some petals. And I can change all that. All right, that works. Okay, so you want to make sure these shapes are filled in, so that they fill that shape. So if the shape is not closed, like this one right here is open, if I drag it over, it's going to fill the whole page. So you want to make sure that it's closed, and then it will fill that section. So somewhere this is open. And I like to fill in the individual bits and bobs, because I like to draw them and color them in individually. That one's open here. Okay, that's a good start. So there's my overall shape. Now I can play with some details and soften it out and things like that. And I didn't do a layer. Dang it. Okay, let's start again. Oh my gosh, this video is gonna be like 5 hours long. I'm so sorry. So don't necessarily do what I do. Layer, there we go. Let's start again, shall we? Okay, sorry about that. I'll do it real quick. Nothing but professional here. Oh my goodness. I just wanted to, I guess I could do this as a separate video, but I was so excited to, okay, that's terrible, Rose. I was so excited to share this paper that I just really was not paying attention. Now I can't draw a rose. That's a terrible rose. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. All right, let's concentrate, Michelle. So you're gonna do a petal here, do a petal here, do a petal here, and then you can do a petal coming out maybe, one more down here. Okay, that's a bit better. Jeez Louise. There we go. All right. I should have known that that wasn't a layer because I could see the crinkling underneath. And you really shouldn't. Okay, so that's how I like to do. I like to fill it. And then I can start playing with the definition. So I'm going to go into, I'm going to keep it all neutral and coffee colored looking because that's the look I'm after. And I'm going to start, and I really like the sketchy look, but there's all kinds of ways to draw on this program. And you're going to, the more you play with it, the more you're going to discover what you do and do not like. Ugh. Turn that down. So now I'm just going to use this blending tool. And I'm going to do this rose pretty quick because I've already taken up a lot of your time. But I wanted to show you how to manipulate this rose with some fun little features on this program. Well, let me just do a little bit and I'll see if I can take the rose off the other paper and then show you how to do it. That way you don't have to watch me do this whole rose because I'm sure you got things to do. So I just start looking at where the light would hit and I start adding in some brighter colors. And I like the outline of the black. Now you would draw, if you don't like that look, you would draw it in the same color as the brown or whatever color you choose, like if you're doing pink or whatever. And then you just kind of play with this stuff. And what you can do too is you can give the rose a little bit more dimension, so you can start adding some rolled petals in here. And like I said, I have a video on how to draw a rose. So if you're not 100% sure how to draw one, check that video out. We'll show you how to do the layers and give the rose a lot more depth than what I'm doing right now. So you're just going to keep building up these highlights and lowlights. So in towards the center of the rose would be the darker color. Then towards the outside. I'll just do one more over here and then I'll turn it around. So I throw that color in, and this smudging tool or whatever, blending tool, it's my favorite tool. I use it because I just feel like I'm drawing with pastels or something. And I like the idea of that drawing feel. I don't want to just draw a box and then just fill that in. I want to add my own little sketchiness to it. It makes it feel more like my work than the computer's work. So you can see the layers are starting, the depth is starting to come. So we'll do, maybe I want to draw, go back to the black here, and I want to give this guy a little bit more definition. And I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to go into the light color, and I'm going to make this curve out. So the petal's curving out like that. And then I'm just going to go to my little smudgy tool, smudge it out. And when you get into these intricate parts, you can lower this, you can blow this right up so you can get a real good idea of where your color is going. And we could spend all day on this. And I'm going to put a little bit in here. Smudge it. Kind of pop those segments, you know, just to separate. So anyways, you can get into it and into it and into it. So I wanted to show you, that's how I draw. And then I'll also put in, because I like the sketchy look, I'll put in some of these black lines back in. And you'll see that kind of look on the one I'm gonna show you. And I just soften those. And it's because I do like the sketch look. But let's go back into the gallery here to one of my other ones. So here's the rose I drew. And I'm gonna see if I can find it. So I'm gonna click on it. I'm gonna hit copy. And go back to my gallery, go back to my sad little rose. Where is it? Up here. And I'm gonna hit new layer, and then I'm gonna hit paste. So there's the rose. That's the original one I did. So it's the same process, but I used black in this one and cream. So this one I wanted to do with some browns and stuff. But once you've drawn this, you can incorporate it in your papers over and over again. So you've got your drawing done. You're going to hit deselect. And then what I really loved is I found these, I was playing with these things because I'd never used them before, and they change the rose. So I used the, like, look, it goes kind of like a vintage vibe, and I really loved it. I used this setting, the soft light. Oops. And look, like, that's so cool. So the soft light effect, where it kind of does like a more of a watermark look. And I use that on here. So it's very, very subtle. So the music notes are really the focal point, but the softness of the textures and elements behind are really, really stunning. So you can do so much. Let me get rid of this one. I'm gonna delete it. And then let's play. So what you can do now is you can select it. You'll select whatever layer on. When you hit select, we'll select that layer. And then I'm gonna do 3 fingers down. I'm gonna hit copy and paste. And there it is again. So now I can rotate it, pull it out, and just use the leaves, say. Where's the leaves? Let's use these leaves. And now I'm just gonna put this element in the corner. And I've showed this in other videos as well. And there we go. So now I can hit that. I can change this. Just move it over so you can see it. I can change the, I can leave it this color, but soften it with the opacity. So now I have a different look. I can go into these, where I can play with the positives and negatives, the dark, all these fun little things you can do. So, I mean, imagine this one. Let's try it. I haven't tried it yet. So we'll leave that one and we'll go back to this. Let's just darken the whole background into some of these. And like, look, it looks like we just spent hours making eco prints. It's just, there's another piece of paper. So much fun. You could write your text in here in white or this bright color. So I just wanted to show you that today. And I'm sorry the video was so long with my mess ups, but like I said, I am learning Procreate as well, and just learning along with you. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. Hope it gave you some really fun ideas on creating your very own antique papers, playing with writing, playing with colors, and then just developing your theme. So I drew him last night. He still needs some work. His face is pretty harsh, but I drew good old Ludwig last night, and now I'm building a journal theme around it. I did go to the printers yesterday, so I drew him last night, so I don't have him printed, but because I have to go out to get the prints. But here's some examples of the papers. So these are blown up. I've already used the standard size papers in my journals. So this is it here. And like I said, I'm just building them as I go. So here's a little pocket. And let's see what else I did. I use it, I've got these really antique old papers here that are fragile, so I kind of hinged them with this, with these scraps. What else? Here's one here. It's hinged to another piece, because you can see how fragile it is. But I love the antiqueness of it. It kind of goes with that 1800s feel that I'm after. And here's one here. So I did a belly band with it. And here's a scrap piece that I stamped, and more scrap pieces. So I'm slowly building it up with my papers. And as I'm designing my book, I can say, oh, you know what? I really want to incorporate the horse and cart, or I want to put in, I don't know, like a street lamps, you know, trying to grab that era, or what the dress costume, not costumes, but how they used to dress back then, a piano. So all these elements start popping in my head, and I start developing these themes, and you can just go to town. So here's an example on the printer, and like I said, I don't have a lot to play with, but this is the original. This is semi-lightened, and this is extra light. So this looks more like a tea dye. This looks more like a coffee dye, and then the darker original one in here somewhere, this one, is the original right off Procreate. So it looks more brown on the screen, and it printed more of a green. So that's what I mean by color saturations on the screen compared to a printer. So they're two very different things, and it'd be nice to have a printer at home. One day I'll have a printer. And then I blew them up too. So I just took those, I did a ledger paper, and we can do a video on that if you want. Here's the ledger paper. And I just made it up. I just put like industrial names in there, dates, and then numbers, kind of like a balance sheet, just again, another version of an antique style paper, because I used to love how they wrote back then. You could draw a pen and ink in here, like, oh man, this video is just gonna keep going and going. So you can blow them up, and that's what I did with this cover piece. So it's a much bigger sheet, and I stuck it to just some file folder. And so there's the rose look. So anyways, I could go on and on, I'm sorry. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you do, please hit the subscription button and hit the like button, and I hope to see you back again, and we'll build some more papers together. Have a great day, guys. Bye.